The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
Welcome to the bonus show. The news is just crazy these days. I mean, all weekend, like by Friday night, I already had 10 possible stories for today. And then we had Saturday, and then we had Sunday, and then we had this morning. I mean, it's almost impossible to keep up with all the news these days.
Yeah, it seems like Donald Trump is kind of fulfilling all of his campaign promises in a certain way, which I guess reflects well from his end. But these are just terrible things he's putting through.
It's insane. Every day is crazier than the last. And I do want to give you an update on the David Pakman Show on Amazon Prime. So we're basically 98% ready to go on the technical end with Amazon Prime. We still have to finalize a couple of the resource issues. But here's what we're coming up against right now. Amazon Prime, in a totally respectable effort to be hearing impaired friendly, mandates subtitles for all Amazon Prime content, okay? So I thought we were going to be able to handle that because YouTube automatically generates captions for our videos. And one thing that can be done is you download those auto-generated captions from YouTube, and then we can upload them to Amazon Prime with the video. They're not 100% accurate. Again, they're auto-generated. They're better and better. Like right now, they're way better than they were 3 years ago, but they're not perfect. But it was a solution for now. Unfortunately, for our long, like 1 hour show, which is something we're looking at putting on Amazon, maybe for 99 cents an episode or something like that, or maybe included with Prime membership, I'm not really sure. Those long videos are no longer being auto-captioned by YouTube. So this is a real problem because we literally cannot publish content on Amazon Prime without captions. I looked into what it would cost to pay a transcription service to do the captions for that every single day, and it's around $200 an episode. Yeah. We're talking about, somewhere around $4,400 per month just to caption it to get on Amazon Prime. This will make very little money, at least in the interim on Amazon Prime. There's no way we can afford $4,400 a month in caption fees for this. So that's the problem we have right now.
And if you look at like a YouTube video or something and it's 90% accurate, I mean, do you really want to pay an extra $200 just to get to 100%?
Absolutely.
Probably not worth it. But also, I mean, these long show, is it because of the length of the show? Is it because it's unlisted? Why is it that they're not able to caption?
I asked YouTube. They never give you a straight answer, but they said that it's possible that if there are long periods of a video that don't have discernible speech, that can make it so that they don't get auto-captioned. So that could include, I mean, in total, if you have like our 30-second musical intro,
yep,
and then the bumper music in and out of every segment.
Playing videos that may not have audio you can kind of make out.
It could be about 1.5 minutes total of stuff, audio that doesn't have noticeable speech, so that could be the problem. So here's one possible solution. If we had, there's this thing called community caption contributions on YouTube where anybody can basically contribute captions. You can caption videos. If we had a group, to put it all on one person, on one member would be a lot. But if we had a group of 15 to 20 members that each day would contribute captions within a few hours of the publishing of new episodes, if it was a big enough group, like 15, 20, or 25 members, number one, if any 1, 2, or 3 members one day just couldn't do it, it wouldn't be a big deal because it'd be a big enough team that in total it could all be done. We could then use that caption file, download it, and use it for the Amazon Prime upload. So that's the idea that I'm sort of putting out to our membership. If only 2 people want to do this, I think it probably isn't enough. Because again, this is volunteer stuff. Obviously, things come up. 2 people can't commit to doing this every day. But if we had a big enough group of people wanting to help with those captions, that could be the way where we meet the caption requirement from Amazon Prime. So that's a hang up right now.
And the audience has bailed us out plenty of times before, so this would just be the next time they do it.
So send me your thoughts if that's something that maybe you could participate in. There's another possibility, which is if we don't get enough people, I could maybe offer to get free memberships to people in the regular audience in exchange for regular participation. Like, I'll give you access to all the member stuff. You're just agreeing in exchange, instead of paying, you'll help to caption the full show every day so that we can put it on Amazon Prime. I don't know. If you have other ideas, let me know. I don't know what else to say, but that's sort of where we are. More protests this weekend. We had protests here at Boston Logan Airport protests at JFK Airport, protests at a whole bunch of airports, Dulles in Washington, outside of Washington, D.C. and Virginia, all over Donald Trump's immigration ban for people from Muslim-majority nations. Major protest at Copley Square here in Boston, Massachusetts. Did you go to that?
I did not. I was not in the area, but I heard that wherever you were going in Boston, you were going to come across the protesters.
It was crazy. Yeah, I didn't go. I had some friends visiting for the weekend, but we were in different spots of the city, and we were seeing people clearly going to the protests or going over to Logan Airport, et cetera.
It's 2 consecutive weekends now with anti-Trump protests.
It's amazing how this is going. And I know I've been critical of some of the, at some of the Women's March protests, I thought that some of the messaging was less than totally productive. But the immigration protests were completely on point. They were protesting exactly what it is that was going on and exactly the way that I think it makes sense to protest it. I know that there were some signs that right-wingers pointed out saying, that's social justice warrior nonsense. But it was, by and large, I thought it was a really well-organized, peaceful, respectful. Is this the new normal, protests every single weekend?
I'm not surprised. I mean, I think if it's targeted in a good direction, I think it makes plenty of sense. Because if you have an authoritarian leader who's going to issue executive orders like this and scapegoat different minority groups, it's important that the public is out there every day, every time these actions get taken.
Yep.
And because otherwise, I think history books will reflect that the American public just kind of went along with these things.
Yes. If you are silent now, then what? Because this is about as bad as we could imagine it would be within 10 days, not even of the inauguration. Yeah, 10 days, actually, 10 days to the day of the inauguration of Donald Trump. I also think that in the back of my mind, maybe Trump kind of gets off on people all over the place paying so much attention to him. But if the public tide turns so swiftly against Trump that even Republicans start to bail, and some Republicans are also bailing, it could actually be an impediment to Trump doing a lot of the crazy stuff he wants to do. So in that way, I don't even care about the impact on Trump's ego. I know a lot of people say Trump loves that everybody's focused on him. That may be, maybe not. Maybe he doesn't like that so many people hate him. But if it impedes progress of Trump's insane ideas, I'm all for it.
I mean, the re-election campaign is nowhere near the foreseeable future. So I feel like he may be thinking he can get away with just about anything at this point.
Yeah.
And yes, there'll be public backlash, but that's not going to be in the form of votes for a long time.
But impeachment always in the background. And again, if his approval gets into the 20s and stays there, and other Republicans start to jump ship, you may see an internal move to get Trump out and Mike Pence to be the president, which would be no saving grace. But at least it would really anger the Trumpists, and that I would really relish.
There would be a motive there, too. I think the Republicans would be much happier with Mike Pence.
Oh, my God. Of course. Yeah, absolutely. Which is also why, I mean, it's a double-edged sword, so to speak. Okay, so one other thing I want to touch on. JFK Airport, the protest there led to cab drivers of yellow cabs in New York City refusing to take people to JFK Airport. Now, you could argue, what sense does that make? They might be inconveniencing passengers that are just trying to fly out who have nothing to do with the immigration ban. But that's what they chose to do. That's what cabbies in New York City chose to do on Saturday, to protest, to join in solidarity with the protesters at JFK Airport. This caused a surge pricing situation on ride-sharing app Uber. Uber decided, in what is being called sort of a strike-breaking move, to manually eliminate the surge to drastically increase the number of Uber rides to JFK Airport. And a lot of people were very angry with Uber for doing that, saying, you're effectively bringing in scabs. You are kind of like the strike buster that's coming in. This led to many people switching from Uber to Lyft, L-Y-F-T, which is a smaller competitor to Uber. And Lyft has very astutely decided to support the protests against Trump's immigration ban. And they've announced they're going to be donating $1 million to the ACLU to help them fight this ban. Yes, split up over the next 4 years, $250,000 per year. Probably not a lot for a company like Lyft. But still, this is one of the stronger responses from these companies. And you know what? I have both apps on my phone. I use Uber and Lyft very infrequently. I don't know if you use them at all.
Pretty infrequently, yeah. If I'm going to use it, it's going to be Uber just because they're the most prominent one of these.
Yeah, although the number of Lyft cars available in Boston has surged drastically, And even though, as you know, I'm against the concept of tipping, I think just charge what you want to charge, which is what Uber does with Lyft. You're expected and allowed to tip. I am going to actually only use Lyft from now on. I'm making that effort and I'm going to do it. I do this maybe once every 3 weeks. I use an Uber or Lyft, but this is actually having an impact. And I think it's pretty smart what Lyft has done here.
Yeah, I mean, they are doing the right thing, I would say, but also they're looking at their portfolio and what's going to make them the most amount of money.
No doubt.
They're a far second when it comes to this market. So, I mean, I think this is going to position them well.
Yeah, you can make the case that Lyft may not actually care about the immigration ban.
$1 million is $1 million, though.
$1 million is $1 million. I tend to believe that they actually do care about it. But even if they don't, they are playing this in a really, really smart way. And of course, this is completely divorced from the politics of the drivers, who aren't even employees, as we've talked about. They're independent contractors. Many of them are driving for both Uber and Lyft simultaneously. So this is not really about the drivers. And you also may have had many drivers bringing people to JFK in this sort of implicit strike-breaking move while they actually agreed with the protest. That's also very, very possible. Many Uber and Lyft drivers are immigrants to the United States. But a very interesting move that we are seeing in so many companies now being pulled in one way or the other into what is just constant conflict with the now 10-day-in president-elect. Send me your thoughts about the entire YouTube captioning thing. Hopefully we can have a solution worked out on that soon.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.